and you take on that project or that client because you know you are in alignment with your purpose, it's all going to sprout. There is where I say, if we understand where to draw our boundaries, saying no becomes sexy.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Academy podcast with the #1 international best-selling author and multi-award winning success and life coach, Kamil Shah. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking this opportunity to grow together with me, Kamil Shah, and my guests on this program. Each episode of the Academy podcast is filled with insights and wisdom from my guests, which I believe can have a profound impact on the way we live our lives. Without further ado, let's dive in. Hello, everyone, and welcome again to the Academy podcast with me, Kamil Shah. Wherever you are tuning in today's session, as always, my wish is that you are in a state of peace and joy as you join us. Today's going to be another super special one because we're going to connect and resonate with many of you out there, especially if you're in the entrepreneurial journey. Okay. So if you're an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, this episode is going to be for you. Okay. We're going to be talking about hustle. Okay. Yes. Hustle. You've heard that word before. So we're going to be talking about that today. Now, as I mentioned, we've heard about this mentioned countless times on social media, and how, a lot of people saying the only way to make it is to hustle, right? Hopefully today we will be able to share some insights about this topic and how we can navigate through it in a more healthier way, all right? Joining me today to talk about this is Andrea Cristancho. Andrea is the founder of the No Hustle Club and host of the No Hustle Summit. She is also the CEO of Andrea Born International, serving as a holistic business coach, helping business owners bring more integration between work and life. Throughout her core message, there's no need to hustle. Andrea sets up the business foundations of a healthy lifestyle that encompasses optimized practices, know-how, assets, and scale. As a 4-time international serial entrepreneur with Latin roots, she shares what it is to do business in China, South Africa, and Switzerland firsthand. In her expat entrepreneur journey, she has discovered that having a signature program, a personal brand, abundant health habits, and the right mindset are the keys to taking off any endeavor. She is an ideas generator, a visionary strategist, business lifestyle mentor, holding a master's degree in international commerce, certified IIN health coach, and has been featured in publications such as Brains Magazine, Thriving Women, and Swiss Pats podcast, amongst others. She's a proud mompreneur on a mission to ditch the hustle narrative present amongst fellow entrepreneurs in the online business space. Welcome, Andrea.
Hello, and thank you so much. What a nice introduction. So happy to be here.
I'm super excited about this one. For the people tuning in, again, Andrea and I are connected before. We've had conversations before. We'll come to that in a while.
Yes.
This is something super special that we want to share with you guys. But I think we got connected through, I think it was Brains Magazine, as writers, right?
Yes, that's it.
So, Andrea, we're going to be talking about hustle today. And what intrigues me about this word hustle is, again, as part of the conversations that we've had before, both of us are parents, right?
Yes.
And something's happened along the way where we've come through an awakened state where we want to take things in our own hands. But before we delve into that, I just want to bring you in right now, Andrea, and just share with us a little bit about your journey to where you are now.
Yes. So as you mentioned, I am a 4 times international serial entrepreneur. And that means in my adult life, the flair of entrepreneurship has been present front and center.
Mm.
When I started my first business, I was living in Shanghai, China. So let's say China was that big playground where I established two different businesses in the span of 10 years. The first one was a healthy snack bar. The name of it was Go Nuts. So
Oh, wow, I
health
love that name.
and yes, and it was really, the health concept in China, like healthy food, healthy lifestyle, was sort of new back then. And this was my first try in business because I saw the need in the market. And that need was for people to stay healthy, eating healthy foods on the go. And the name was Go Nuts because I had a whole series of trail mixes and they were
Nice.
on the go. So that's how that name came to be. And that was my first experience and my first time testing the toxic hustle. Unfortunately, that's how I started my journey. I was working Monday to Monday, nonstop, 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. every single week of the year. And after 18 months, I had it. I was burnt out. I was frustrated. I really needed an out. And that's when I decided to pivot, sold that business, and moved on. The interesting learning curve from this adventure was that I had the expertise of setting a company in China firsthand. So with that, I moved on into the corporate space. And it's not that I didn't hustle then. No, unfortunately, I kept on. And then I understood that this was sort of what I learned in my upbringing. This is what I was modeling from my parents. I was then modeling from my mentors. And I went on to set up my second business, which was a consulting firm for foreign direct investment into China. I brought this,
Wow.
idea into a meeting where another city in China became my partner. Then you can imagine, I felt like I was holding China on my shoulders. And yes, I did work hard. It was a great experience. Did I learn a lot? It was a great, learning curve. But once again, I needed out. So I came to realize it was a cycle. Like every time I started, I just had to give it all. And, I really, in hindsight, I didn't know how to set boundaries. I am someone of service. I love to really have, interaction with my clients. And I love to see progress. So for me, back then, I just didn't know, okay, how to stop. I was just all in and sacrificing my life. However, that safety cord that you pull whenever you've had enough, well, for me that was yoga. I've been a yogini my whole life, and that was that one routine that kept me sane as I was really running myself to the ground. And in that balance, I understood that, well, there's a bridge one has to cross, because I was that typical businesswoman going into, your business meetings and seminars and networking events with my mat strap across my back. And it was, that was my normal. And yeah, it was sort of a signature, like a brand. But for me, that was just like, okay, this is the way I keep that quote unquote balance. Then we moved away from China. And here's where my first realization came to be. We landed in South Africa, and I really had not much to do there, and I was coming from this hustle and bustle to stay put. And, it was just my husband and I back then. And what did I do? Well, in less than 3 months, I set up another business, another company. But here we were in a different continent, different country. So the hard work, it's really a constant. But at my third endeavor, I understood, well, this time I'm going to really start building that bridge. I'm not going to really, dive myself into an unhealthy environment. Back then, I really didn't understand much about the online space because living in China, that's like living in a bubble. Like
Mm.
the Western social media world does not exist there. And I was there for 10 years. So, inside that beautiful box that technology wise is much ahead of the curve. So there was in South Africa starting a business completely from scratch. And this time it was a yoga brand. So I came to really bridge my world, creating my own yoga clothing brand. And I went to design and launch in between Asia and South Africa and South America. So you can imagine it was hard work, but I was so happy doing it. And that was the first time I realized, okay, one can really design a lifestyle on one's terms because the market was really less pushy, less aggressive. But that meant I had to work harder because things were happening at a lower pace. And when we moved away from South Africa, that was, the first time landing in Switzerland where I said, okay, something's got to change. And the moment where I opened my eyes to I'm doing something very wrong as an entrepreneur is when motherhood crossed that equation because I understood, okay, I want to start my coaching business, but I do not want to sacrifice time away from my children. And then I started designing my lifestyle, my business pace, and my goals.
Mm.
And yes, the difference or the big realization in my fourth business yet was that there's no such thing as work-life balance
Mm.
for me, in my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
What I realize is that the keys to success is to integrate what truly matters from your business world and your life. And that is exactly where, Andrea Born International came to exist. And that's where the No Hustle Club came to exist in the firsthand experience of burning myself to the ground on numerous times and then taking best practices with a lifestyle of a mother, a businesswoman, and a healthy junkie. So that's who I am. That's what I do.
Wow, that's so much in there. I just love that. Thank you so much for sharing that lifetime of a journey to where you are now. It's so interesting. I was just so engrossed, imagining all these businesses that you've set up. There's so
Yes.
much in there. I want to touch on the last thing that you've just said about
Yes.
work and life balance, and I completely resonate with that. I'm now a believer that for me, I would rather seek alignment
Mm-hmm.
than trying to strive for work-life balance, because I think there's a
Yes.
difference there. Because previously I did have balance, but there was something missing. I wasn't aligned. What I was doing
Exactly.
wasn't what I wanted to do, right? So
Yes.
that was still, a kind of a learning curve for me to try and understand. Sometimes, life, as as parents, it's not going to be plain sailing. You're going to have good days, you're going to have bad days. That's life,
Exactly.
right? But if you're aligned, that's where you come back to the center of, who
Yes.
you
It
are, what
makes
your passion.
sense.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so the next thing I want to ask is, let's take it a few steps back for people tuning in, who are new to the idea of hustle. Okay,
Yes.
can we take it back to that word? What does hustle mean in your books?
Yes. Well, to me, hustle has a negative connotation. And on the other hand, it has a normalized connotation.
Mm.
And the mix of it, in my understanding, is that you've got to work no matter what and doing whatever it is you've got to do in order to reach success. And I do not believe that, because when I see that the more I place self-care front and center, the more energized, the healthier, the clearer I am in order to do that needs to get done in life and in business, so I win. And that, when I bring it into, okay, am I hustling if I am being myself? And there is a complete disconnect. Hustle has become that word where every time I hear it, or I read or hear someone mentioning it, I was like, oh, you've got to hustle. To me, it's like my whole body, you know, shrinks and tense. It's like, no way, no way. But it took me years, to realize, okay, why am I feeling the way I feel? And yes, that intuition, that little voice inside of you is so wise. And mine has been for a long time, but I was a bit deaf because in society, schooling, we are taught you've got to work hard. And I don't believe that either. I believe you've got to work, you've got to get it done, but get it done in the smart way, not the hard way. Why? The more you are in alignment, in tune with what you want to do and who you are, the quicker you're going to reach that one outcome, because your mind is sharp, your body's sharp, your soul is in alignment. And that is what I believe smart work is about. So when we come back to, okay, hustle, no, I say there's no need to hustle. What we got to do is, take work, take that commitment, that perseverance, and sharpen it with the tools that you already have within you, or that you need to learn in order to get it done. But eliminate the hustle, because that's just going to bring toxicity. That's just going to bring negativity into your affair.
Well, nicely put there. Thank you for sharing that. That's a really interesting way of looking at it. And I think, as you were talking there, I even kind of remember some of the previous, podcasts and shows and clips that, for example, Gary Vee, Gary Vee, when I started off, started looking at Gary Vee, and at that time, the narrative for him has changed as well. When he started off, a couple of years ago, when he became quite, vocal about, hustling and, this is the way to do it. There's no other way. But now, what's happened is that, I think a lot of people are, as you mentioned, getting burnt out because, we are doing it, but there's no guideline, doing what? There's no framework of doing it right. The alignment isn't there. There's no point just working hard for, without a proper strategy. So now the narrative's changed that, yes, work, do the work, but also take the rest and, do self-care. And all these things are as important as the work itself. Whereas previously, these other things were not mentioned and were not even focused on. So people were just doing work. And, you mentioned about being burnt out. So I want to come to that as well. If you don't mind sharing about, the moment where you realize that, I'm going through burnout, because again, a lot of people tuning in, what are the telltales of being burnt out or going through burnout?
Yes. I believe the number one resistance you're going to feel when you are burned out is a lack of motivation. It's like someone has taken passion away. So you're mindlessly working or doing whatever it is that you have signed up to do without the passion. And then you start feeling it in your body. So you're perhaps overeating or skipping meals, or simply not even caring on what you're putting into your body. It's just like, okay, I got to eat because, I've got to eat. And when life loses that joy, that the passion, then there's something very wrong. And for some, that has become the norm. And when you reach that point where you're sort of living in autopilot mode, that's your red flag. That's when you've got to say something's got to change. Another thing that I see a lot, amongst my clients is that when, a lack of clarity becomes the norm, in the sense that you know why you started your business, you know what you want to achieve, but in between, you have lost track because you start chasing these shiny objects and you have lost track because there's no systems nor structure in place. And when you cannot give yourself a system and a structure to function, then you are really, repeating tasks and instead of investing 2 hours in getting something done, it sometimes takes 5 and you don't know why. You don't know where the time's gone or what happened, but all you feel is this lack of energy at the end of the task because you're drained, literally gone. So I believe these are, the few signals, but there's many, and it really depends on the lifestyle you have, your environment. For some people, it also comes up in the form of your mood, right? When you're like losing temper or feeling sad and depressed out of the blue for simple reasons that perhaps would not have taken you off track, but it's happening at the moment. And, these are signs to say, wait a minute, where is this coming? But most of us just simply ignore and keep on. And that's another flag, when you're not taking yourself seriously because your body, your mind, your spirit is telling you, hey, I'm not feeling it, then something's got to stop because you need to come first. Otherwise, there's no fuel to give anything to anyone.
Thank you for sharing that. That's really useful. A few kind of telltale signs of potentially, someone going through burnout or approaching burnout. And I completely resonate with the things that you've mentioned there. Lack of motivation, lethargy, feeling tired, mentally and emotionally drained. You like you mentioned, doing the act of just purely doing, and I guess a lot of things, in terms of frustration coming into play as well, because you're not seeing any results, but you keep doing it anyway, and you don't know why you're doing it. Right? You mentioned about
Yes.
being in autopilot. So
Yes.
all these things without being able to step back and being self-aware and doing the self-care that's needed, eventually you're only human. You're going to burn out. As simple as
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
And self-care is something else that a lot of people, and mainly men, sort of
Mm.
ignore. Because yes, a spa could be part of your self-care ritual, but doesn't need to be. You can absolutely take a spa out of the equation. Self-care means making time for yourself to cultivate yourself. If that means sitting on a bench and watching the horizon, enjoying the sunset, that is self-care. Making time to sit in a meditation. And if there's no meditation practice in your toolkit, sitting on a hammock and simply enjoying the breeze on your face, that is self-care. If you can add into that mix a great massage, hey, kudos to you. I'm all for that. But it doesn't mean that you need money, right? It doesn't mean that you need to learn something at all. What it means is you need to set time for yourself as priority, scheduled in your calendar on the daily. To do that, that brings joy. That's what self-care means.
Nicely put there, and a lot of ways, as you mentioned, simple inexpensive ways to actually practice self-care.
Yes.
And as you mentioned there, one of the things that I've, if I can share from my own point of view, as I was going through what looking back was burnout, because I was stressed in my corporate job, previous jobs. I actually just said, look, I've never tried meditation before. I said, I never kind of, thought it was, I never knew what it was. So I had all these negative things about, meditation, what's meditation? But I just got to a point where it's unfortunate. Sometimes, we just have to wait until we get to a point where we're in so much pain
Yeah.
that we then take action. But it doesn't have to be that way. But unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way. I had to reach that point, that low point where I said, look, I'm just willing to try anything now. So
Yeah.
I just started to do a quick, at that time, it was a 10-minute meditation in the morning before I went to work. And that just changed my
That
whole day.
revolutionize your world, I'm sure.
Absolutely. And it was like you're saying, it's so simple. I just needed 10 minutes before I got into the car and go to work. And it was, I didn't pay anything, didn't cost anything.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And for many to begin a meditation practice takes so much, it's hard because it takes so much effort on learning something new. If you sit a child and you tell that child, listen, now we're going to sit down and we're going to meditate. If you simply tell them meditation is breathing, you don't need to close your eyes. We're just going to sit here and chill. Let's take a deep breath. They do it. There's no conditioning. There's no second guessing. There's no doubt. There's no, wait a minute, sit down. That's a waste of time. The hard part of meditation is to begin the practice is to unlearn all of that baggage, all that false information that we have accumulated along the way. Because the true form of meditation is just simply being there with yourself, whether you are walking or seated or laying down, eyes closed, eyes open. The form is not, what matters. What matters is for you to decide, now I sit in peace with myself. And that's where a real practice of meditation begins.
I just want to share this. I'm actually listening to an audiobook starting from today. I just downloaded it. It's Stolen Focus by Johan Hari. I don't know if you've heard about this. And I actually heard about this from, I think, another podcast.
Yeah.
So, and it's really interesting. It talks about how we're in a digital age where we are so wired and connected that we are unable to step back from everything that's going on. And
Yes.
simple things like this, like you've mentioned, the 10-minute just stepping back, sometimes it's so hard because we're so wired now that, coming back to reality and just sitting still
Yes.
is so
Yes.
hard to do now because we're just not used to it anymore, which is really
Yes.
interesting.
Exactly. And that simple unplug, has become a chore.
Absolutely. Okay, this is really interesting conversation. I'm really loving this. Andrea, I want to come to the No Hustle Club, right?
Yes.
So your journey, now we talked about what hustle is, what are the telltale signs of burnout, and how can we go through or doing the work in a more healthy way. So let's talk now about the No Hustle Club.
Yes.
If you can share a little bit about that.
Yes, absolutely. The No Hustle Club is the place where we come together to learn and practice, actively practice best tools, optimization, and information, knowledge that we can apply into our business and our lifestyle in order to integrate. This is a place that I wish I came across when I started my entrepreneurial journey 15 years ago. And the reason I decided to, embark in the creation of this club is because I felt that when I joined the online business world, the excess of information and the lack of accountability put me on, a boat without a destination and, in high waves. And the sensation came, it wasn't pleasant, but at the same time, I started wasting time and money, joining this course, joining that next mentorship, joining this, joining that. And I realized I love what I'm learning, but there's got to be an end to all this consumption. And there's got to be beginning to my creation. And that's when I said, you know what? If there was a place where I just join and I stay focused and I stay working towards myself and working towards my business and really being together with like-minded people that place self-care, family, and business all in the highest position of importance, that's where I want to be. So I decided to create it because I couldn't find it. And then the No Hustle Club came to be as, that the place to be, that sweet spot in between health and business. And there's 4 pillars that we practice in there. And that is mind, business, body, and mindset. And when it comes to, why are these the 4 pillars? Well, I believe, it's all in your mind. What you set your mind to, to believe, and or what you simply believe by default becomes your freedom or becomes your stopper. And if you are amongst a community that allows for growth because you're nourishing each other with ideas and wins, then there's space for all of us to grow as a community. And when it comes to business, it's simple. I like to work in quarters. And when I say I like to work, means I like to plan within systems and structure every single quarter. So I follow cyclical living, and my business, everything, all my launches happen in a full moon, for example. So when it comes to working, and no matter what type of business you're doing, if you plug into structures, cycles that nature and business practices present, then we all minimize the effort and increase the impact of what we're doing. And then body, that is the fuel. For me, body, meaning moving, exercise, and breath, are really, the 2 tools that fuel the temple, that beautiful machine that you are. And when it comes to the 4 pillars, we cannot leave out nutrition. For me, in a daily practice, you are what you eat. And when you pay attention to what you're fueling your body with, and then in there you throw superfoods, I believe that's a winning proposition. That's a lifestyle I follow, and that's a lifestyle I like to, share and teach. And these are the 4 pillars you find inside the No Hustle Club.
Amazing. Wow. It's just so special. And I think, for people tuning in, do go ahead and check out the No Hustle Club. And Andrea, we have a special summit coming up real soon.
Yes.
So if you don't mind just sharing a little bit information about that.
Absolutely. So the No Hustle Summit is happening on April 16th and is that one platform where I have, as a host, invited special speakers, such as yourself, to come share their point of view and their opinion and their best practices on why we as a whole need to ditch the hustle narrative present among fellow entrepreneurs. And the way we do it is by implementing tools. So the No Hustle Summit has 4 seasons in the year, and now we're moving on to season 2. And this summit is all about fueling your toolkit with tools that really bring, high impact with low effort, minimum work. That's what it is. So everyone is welcome. It's a free summit, and it's all taking place inside a private podcast channel. So it's an audio summit. There's no, excess of information. There's no, video watching. No, no, no. This is all about plugging in your earbuds, enjoying your time as you are, sitting on your sofa, legs up, relax, taking in what we get to share all in one day. No need to go crazy.
Looking forward to it as well. So thank you for having me as one of the speakers on, on the No Hustle Club,
Absolutely. Thank
No Hustle
you
Summit.
for joining.
So how can people sign up for this summit?
Yes. So everyone is welcome. As I said, it's a free event, and you can sign up by going into the knowhustlesummit.com. In there, you're going to find a beautiful page with all the, instructions on where to sign up and what to do next. And yes, I think it's a new format. A micro audio summit as a system is a new format of marketing, and I have absolutely taken the flag of audio marketing as the lead in my business, and that's why I've created this platform for everyone to enjoy the information that I believe needs to be curated and put in the ears of everyone out there.
Go ahead and sign up at the knowhustlesummit.com, correct?
Yes.
And as you mentioned, there are 4 seasons in a year.
Yes.
So we're going on to season number 2 right now.
Yes.
So yeah, so looking forward to this. So much information, and just looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
No, and it's great speakers. You're in for a nice treat.
Okay, so Andrea, I want to come back to the session today. Just before time's flown by again as usual.
Yes.
Before we go on to the tail end of the episode, I just want to come back to something that you mentioned at the beginning. You mentioned about balance being the brand, where it is a lifestyle, right? Yeah. Lifestyle as a brand. So what kind of lifestyle do you want to lead? And that essentially, you don't need to be 2 different people. You can be one person living that lifestyle and being that person that you want. Can you go in a little bit deeper on that specific topic?
I love this. For me, it's all about setting boundaries. When you realize this is the person I want to be, and you say, this one human is a healthy individual who inspires others, and it's of service and has a thriving career and is prosperous, well, that individual can absolutely be you, if that's what you want. And how we get there is by setting boundaries and communicating our boundaries. So, for example, leading by example in your home. When you want to be healthy, and you and your children and your household gets to eat whole nutritious foods on the daily, well, guess what? You're setting the right environment for that message to sprout. When in your business you want to live a healthy lifestyle, well, when you're speaking with prospects and you resonate and you take on that project or that client because you are in alignment with your purpose, it's all going to sprout. Instead of just taking up work because it pays and you've got to, get it done no matter what, sacrificing your principles and values. There is where I say, if we understand where to draw our boundaries, saying no becomes sexy. And even if you have to, upset people, it's better to upset others than upset yourself. And I know this might sound selfish, but the reality is that it's not. the more you are true to who you are and what you like and dislike, the more you're going to attract and manifest that you want to see, the way you want to live your life. And that's what I believe your lifestyle, that's how you shape your lifestyle, and you start living by design, not by default, not because I don't know why this happens to me. No, it's always a choice, and you begin by making a decision, and then an outcome will come, right? But if you're not mindful at what is that you're choosing in the first place, or that you are wishing for, or that you're doing with your habits, then it gets harder to say, this is the life I want to be, or this is a lifestyle I'm leading with.
Love that. Love that. So much, again, so much in there. One thing that I took away from that was saying no is sexy.
Yes, that's one of. I think I'm gonna have to trademark that one day because I say it so much that I start being quoted by it, and I totally believe it. I when I say no, it's a no, and at times some people, it comes across wrong, but for me, that's how it needs to be. So I shine upon it, and it looks good. Like it's like you're wearing that best suit. Well, my best suit is no to that I don't welcome into my life, no to that I don't eat, no to that I don't appreciate or approve. And yes, life becomes smoother and easier, and you really sail with your best foot forward, one step at a time, all the time.
Andrea, thank you so much. This has flown by. And again, as I say, there's so much that we've covered in such little time, but I feel we need to do another session to do it more justice, because, I think we're just scratching the surface.
Absolutely. Inside, something that I didn't mention, the No Hustle Club is an app. And this is precisely why I've chosen an app as a format, because to stay away from the social media noise and to stay away from distractions, what better place to really keep all your beautiful community and gather all your information and keep track of your progress in one place. So I believe the same thing you're doing with your podcast. You're really bringing all this goodness into one central place. And yes, the deeper we go, the more we learn. Absolute.
I love that. Love that. Deeper we go, the more that we learn. I love that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea, okay, so we're coming up to the tail end of the conversation. How can people connect with you?
Well, the best place to connect with me on social media is on Instagram under andreacristancho.coach. That's where you're going to find me. And the other is on my website. And, in there, you've got all the avenues into my world, andreacristancho.com.
Amazing. And we'll put all the description as well as the link to the No Hustle Summit in the description of the podcast as well. So, people tuning in can go ahead and connect through that. Okay?
Great. Thank you.
As usual, I end this session with a quick 5-question round. Are you okay to do this, Andrea?
Absolutely. Ready.
Awesome. Okay, so the first question is, what is your favorite word?
Can it be 2? No hustle.
There you go. No hustle. That's it. No, saying no is sexy.
Exactly.
Oh, awesome. Love that. Love that. Okay. Question number 2. What are you currently reading or listening to?
Well, at the moment, I'm reading about money mindset and abundance. And the one book that I'm loving most is Profits First by Mikalovitz. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. But yes, I am really going deep into the art of money and how we see money and the patterns of our upbringing and the relationships we have with money. So yes, these are my readings at the moment.
Amazing. That will be on my reading list as well. Cool. Okay. Question number 3. If you could meet someone either living or past, who would that be?
Hey, for me, that would be Dr. Mark Heyman. Like,
Mm,
he is that one icon that I would love to hang out with for a
mm,
day at least, because I find he's a wealth of information and he really leaves the lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle of an entrepreneur and a human of service. And he's aging, and he's, all about aging in a healthy way. And I want to learn that. I'm Latina after all. So looks matter to me.
Oh, awesome. Love that. Love that. Amazing. Okay. So, question number 4. What advice would you give the younger Andrea?
To breathe and smile, because there's no need to hustle. That is
Mm,
truly my mantra. If I were to go back in time, I would just tell myself, ease into it. One step at a time is the only way. There's no need to go eat the world. Chew it and enjoy every bite.
love that. I love that analogy. Take it one step at a time, one bite at a time.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. It's enjoy the meal. It's not
Yes.
just go, chug it in. No, no, no.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
That's true. That's true. Taking it slow and easy. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
the whole experience. That's great.
Exactly. Staying present at a steady pace.
Yeah. Love that. Love that. Okay. Question number 5. Last question. What can we expect from Andrea in the next 5 years?
Well, I envision the No Hustle Club, the app, to be in the hands of a large number of thriving entrepreneurs. And when I say in the hands, mean in their mobiles, in their back pocket. And I envision them raving about it and loving all the tools and workshops and, hangouts that we have in there.
I love that. Love that vision already. I'm just thinking about that community of like-minded people
Yes.
gaining so much information and knowledge from each other. And I think that's a noble thing that you're doing, Andrea.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so unfortunately, that's all the time that we have in this episode. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, Andrea. I've learned so much about hustling and and working towards your aim and your goal in a much more healthier way. So aligning your life with your brand and also your lifestyle. So thank you so much, Andrea. This has been an eye-opening episode. Any last words from you for people tuning in?
I truly mean it. Breathe and smile. There's no
Mm.
need to hustle. These are my last words. And thank you for inviting me. And, likewise, I enjoyed very much our conversation.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Until the next episode, everyone, peace and love from me as always, and from Andrea.
Peace and love.
Okay, bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in from wherever you are. My sincere hope is that this episode has not only resonated with you, but also given you some invaluable tips and strategies to improve your life. Don't forget to share your comments with me. As you know, I love to hear your views. Also, remember to follow the Academy, follow me, my guests, and tag us on our social media handles, which will be provided in the description. Most importantly, please leave a review and let me know that you've heard this podcast and how it has impacted you. Until the next episode, stay safe, stay healthy, and peace and love from me always.